Okay, who got their one call? All right, who watched the governor at 2 o'clock? Okay, so other than my kids, I don't think anybody's happy. But my kids are out of school for the next 3 weeks. I know, it's tough, ain't it? All right, I think we all know why we're here. You know, we are having to take some pretty drastic measures. A lot of it due to the governor's increasingly stringent policies as far as visitations specific to nursing homes, assisted livings, retirement communities. So, our world is changing. We don't make these decisions, we just have to enforce them, and we've got to work together. Because it's going to take all of us working together to make this successful. It is a temporary situation. How temporary? I do not know. It depends on how quick we can get a hold of the COVID-19 pandemic. If you do not know, the state of Ohio is in a state of emergency. That was declared 2 or 3 days ago. I'm going to be very honest, the last week all blends together. Let's just say it happened recently. Who watched the president speak last night? Okay, so you understand the president had a pretty serious message when it came to the outbreak, to the pandemic. So his message last night was more strict than what Governor DeWine announced yesterday. We as a campus have literally been meeting about, as a company, have literally been meeting about this topic 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. Last night, Tanya and myself were on a conference call at 7 o'clock, and that was the third one yesterday. It's constantly changing. We made a decision this morning to go ahead and jump ahead of the curve because Governor DeWine gave us one direction yesterday. President Trump made a comment last night, made a recommendation. We assumed, and we were correct, that that recommendation was going to become executive order today by Governor DeWine, and it did. Where we sit right now is anybody who comes onto this campus will stop at our new guard shack. If you haven't seen it, it used to sit across the street at the Shed place. We bought it last night and had it dropped off today. So we now have a guard shack down at the corner. If you are going to leave the campus, which you are free to do, you are absolutely free to leave the campus and come back. When you leave, you will need to sign out, and you will have to have your temperature taken. The medical definition of a fever right now, and I'm saying right now because who knows what they'll make it tomorrow, is 100.4. If we take your temperature and you are 100.4, we're not going to allow you on the campus. So if you're coming onto the campus, you will be turned away. If you are leaving and your temp is 100.4 or greater, we are going to advise you to go home and self-quarantine and contact a medical professional. 100.4 is what we are using, actually it is what we are told to use as that determining factor. There are other symptoms, obviously. Shortness of breath and a fever, we're going to step back away from you, tell you to go home and self-isolate and contact a medical professional. This is a very easily spread disease. Hospitals are setting up drive-through testing centers because they don't even want you to come in the building. That was an advisement of the government. Local hospitals are already starting to do things like that. The goal here with it, when it comes to protecting the residents and the staff, is to limit the amount of exposure. Exposure is what's going to cause this thing to continue to double every 6 days. That's the current rate. The current rate of infection is doubling every 6 days. There was a comment, and don't quote me on this stuff because I've heard so much stuff I don't even know what I can remember, let alone believe anymore. But there was a comment made that every one person infected will infect at least 2 more people. So the goal is to limit exposure. Exposure is what's going to drive this pandemic further and further and further. So with that, all people who enter the campus will check in, staff included. I cannot come on this campus without checking in. What do you need when you check in? Patience, please. You also need a form of identification. That is mandated in the executive order. If you have a state-issued license or ID, please bring it. First of all, if you're driving, you should already have it, right? Thank you. But we have to verify that it's you, a state-issued ID. What do you have to give? You have to give your name, your phone number, and your address. We are mandated to ask for those three things. We are going to check your temperature and we are going to log it. And we have to maintain those logs as of right now for 6 months. You also have 4 questions you have to answer. I'm probably going to get them wrong, but it is, have you traveled out of the country in the last 14 days? Have you come in contact with somebody who has traveled out of the country in the last 14 days? Have you come in contact with somebody who has been diagnosed or who could possibly have COVID-19, or are you experiencing any respiratory infection, respiratory distress, or flu-like symptoms? Roughly, those are the questions. Don't quote me on those. But those are the 4 things, and they are check boxes. Every time you come in and every time you leave. That is mandated, again, by executive order. It is not easy, and it sure ain't fun. It's not fun for any of us. We already know we're going to have bottlenecks when our staff have to change shifts. We already know we're going to have issues when it comes to deliveries. A lot of people are asking, what about the post office? Well, I personally had a discussion with the postman today. Postman? That'll work. He said the Postmaster General is not having a very good week. He said he will not be surprised if tomorrow when he delivers his mail, it's going to be in one big old box and he's going to drop it at the pillar. The postmaster runs that show and he makes all the decisions. What is happening is when they go to deliver to nursing homes, assisted living, and senior living communities, they are running into, well, exactly what we're doing. And so it is taking them more time to do their jobs. That is not acceptable to the postmaster. He is trying to determine what's going to be the best way, and according to our mailman today, he said right now they are potentially leaning towards dropping the mail in bulk and leaving it up, making it the responsibility of the facility to disseminate. I don't have an official order yet from the postmaster, but I can tell you that he was pretty darn sure that that's probably the way they're going to go. Which all that does is put the burden on us, and right, what's the big deal with that? Everything else been thrown on us, so why not? I will let you guys know what happens as that develops. I can tell you that was the discussion that I had with him today at about 1:30. So we'll see how that goes. Other deliveries, FedEx, everybody, all deliveries are going to go to the loading dock. CMS, CDC has recommended to senior living communities that we have 1 point of drop-off. The only exceptions that we are allowing at this point is the postmaster, is the postman, because if he goes and he delivers, he's not coming in contact with anybody, right? He doesn't come to your house, knock on your door, come in, have a cup of coffee while you open your mail. He drops it in your mailbox and he runs because he's got to get someplace else. We are allowing him to go make the mailbox to mailbox deliveries if he's still allowed. He still has to check in. There are no exceptions. 0. He still has to check in. The other thing that we're allowing is food, because I don't want him to drop ice cream off in the loading dock or I'm going to have a puddle of milk when I get to the freezer. So we are allowing the food deliveries to be delivered to the community center and to Burdick Tower as normal. The other people that are allowed to come and roam freely, and by freely meaning go to where they need to go, do their job and get out, the construction workers, they do have to go through the screening. The garbage man, he's got to go through the screening. But we can't stop those people from coming in. We have things that we do have to take care of. Home health agencies, They have their own set of screening that they have to do before they leave their offices. When they come here, if you receive home health, it will not be interrupted. May it take them a little longer to get to you once they get to the campus, depends on when they come, but we are not interrupting home health, but they do have to sign in, they do have to check in, and we do have to check their temps. Same thing with hospice services. We are not denying anybody medical treatment, but we do have to follow the rules that were been bestowed upon us, and everybody who comes to this campus will be checked in. If a staff member shows up and we check them in and then they're hungry and we don't have anything they like and they go to McDonald's, they got to check out, they got to check in, and they got to check out when they leave again. Transportation. Transportation will still run as normal for things like grocery. Everybody needs to eat. We are going to make grocery runs. You will have to check out as a group when you leave, and you will have to check in as a group when you come back. We are working on a way to make it a little easier. A staff member just has to be the person to take your temperature and do the log, so we are going to work out a way where maybe the driver does it right when he pulls out, and the driver does it right when you get back. We're trying to make that as simple as possible, but if a group of people leave on a bus, each one of you has to individually be temped and sign in and sign out. What else? On-campus events. Have them. Please. We are still allowing an entertainer like, I forgot the name, Celtic Font? Is that the name? Do I have that right? It is 2 people. They will go through the screening process. We are actually going to pre-screen them before they even show up. When they show up, we will screen them. They have to log in, have their temperature checked. And we are going to allow those types of events. Events where somebody stands at the front of a room outside of a 6-foot radius. You remember Diana talking about a 6-foot radius in public? We are allowing those things to happen. The residents as a group, what I need you to do is self-police. Today, while you're here, before you leave, we have to take everybody's temperature. And the reason is because a lot of you won't go through that gate. So we have to have a baseline of where our campus is. We have to know if there is anybody on the campus that may have any symptoms, any signs, and then we have to notify the local health department or work with you and your doctor to get you checked out. We have to know what we have on the campus to make sure that we don't have something that we are passing around. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you leave and come back, we're going to get that anyways. But if you don't leave, we'll never check your temp, and we don't know what we don't know.
What about the Easter egg hunt?
So the Easter egg hunt at this point in time, 2 days ago the Easter egg hunt was on. The Easter egg hunt did not come up today, I'll be very honest. And the reason is because logistically we've been going through a nightmare trying to make everything happen. So we did not talk about it. I can say with a lot of certainty, it's probably not going to happen. 2 days ago, we were keeping it on. I do not think it's going to happen. We'll get something out to you guys and let you know if it is or not. I would find it hard to believe it's going to happen at this point. Because their Easter egg hunt, now if we were doing an Easter egg hunt for all you guys, yeah, we'll do that. But if we're doing an Easter egg hunt to have 300 kids come here, they just shut down public schools. Because kids are potential carriers. That's what the governor said. Kids are potential carriers, as are adults, but kids are potential carriers.
No.
And kids, I don't want to say kids have the worst infection control, because I'm not so certain many adults do any better, but we probably should not be having them on the campus.
I got it on the TV, it's probably canceled.
It's probably going to be canceled. Trying to run through the myriad of things that we've been discussing as an executive team. So on-campus events we do still want you to have. The governor also did ban what he's calling mass gatherings, which is any congregation of 100 people or more, nobody count. Technically, it's not in effect till he signs it, so I think we're good. So we do have to be very conscientious of that. So that's where we're at. That's what we are doing as a campus. Visitation right now is absolutely limited to medical necessity. Medical necessity is tricky because some people are trying to stretch what is and is not medically necessary. I can tell you it's going to come down to our discretion. Because at the end of the day, it's our liability and our responsibility. I can promise you, we are looking at every single situation with as much compassion and understanding as we can. But at the end of the day, I've got to worry about every single resident and every single staff member that walks in the store. We had a meeting this morning where I let my staff know I cannot allow us to be that campus that ends up on the news. I can't. We have very tough decisions we have to make. I have family. I have a friend. I know what it's like to have people you want to visit with. I know it's going to be hard. Unfortunately, we've got to do it. This is a very, very serious situation. We've got to take our own account for the actions that we do. I just told you you could leave this campus anytime you want. I am not restricting your leaving. What I am asking you to do is to use good judgment. Understand where you're going. Practice those techniques we talked about the other day. Wash your hands for 20 seconds. Hum Happy Birthday twice or sing it like Marilyn Monroe. All right? Get to the 20-second mark.
Do the moves, too.
You can do the moves. Carry hand sanitizer. Use hand sanitizer. Try to avoid large gatherings of people. Try to avoid touching things that you don't need to touch. Avoid touching your face. Avoid touching your eyes. Avoid touching your mouth. Wash your hands religiously. If you've got a cough, cough into your sleeve. Ideally, cough into a tissue, throw the tissue away. Wash your hands thoroughly, get underneath your fingernails. Avoid touching other people. That's actually a law. You're not really supposed to touch them anyways, but avoid touching other people. Just practice good judgment. If you feel like you need to go somewhere, go. Just pay attention and try to use your best judgment, follow infection prevention, and just try to minimize your own exposure. We're all grown adults. We all have a reasonable mind. That's what God made humans, right? We have reasonable intelligibility. I got that all out without stuttering today. Use it. Be cautious. It is not a joke. I know people are looking at it and saying, we only have 5 cases in Ohio. Yeah, now. If you watch what the governor does, his presentations, he's got a lady, Dr. Dr. A. She showed a graph, and that graph had a yellow bell curve like this. That was China. Then she has a blue bell curve that goes like this. That's us now. Right? That's us now, right? Yeah. What we don't want to do is get to that yellow. So we do have resources. We do have a lot more knowledge now than they did when it first started coming out. The local community, the healthcare community is trying to work together the best we can. So all we're asking for is patience, understanding, and use your best judgment. And if you're concerned that someone's not using their best judgment, I'd probably tell them just 6 feet away. Make sense? All right, are there any questions?
You made a statement that if you come back in and your temperature is 100.4, you go to your room and you call your medical, they're not going to come here.
No, they're gonna have you. So what Dr. A also did today was make a plea to the medical community. All right? Doctors are human beings. Right now, every doctor in the state of Ohio and probably in this country is getting inundated with everybody calling with every cough, sniffle, and sneeze that they have. What she did was she made a plea to caregivers, to physicians, to practitioners, and she said, get good history. We do not have enough reagent to go and test 2 million people. So we've got to make sure that we have very, very concrete evidence and a good suspicion that this is going to be a potential. So what they've done is she has asked all the providers to get good history, ask those questions, dive in. Your physician won't come, but he can do a lot of investigation over the phone. If he has suspicion or she has suspicion that you may have it, they're going to direct you to the Department of Health. Because the Department of Health right now are the people who are doing all the testing. Quest and LabCorp have said that they are working on developing tests so they can do the test. Right now, to my knowledge, we have no private labs in our area that can test. It is all through the health department. So when you call your physician, he should do a very thorough job of asking you your signs, your symptoms, where you've been, what you're experiencing, may ask you to take your temperature. And based on that, he's going to make recommendations.
How do we get to the health department?
Well, that's actually pretty interesting because Tanya has had 2 jobs this week. A, call the local hospitals and assess their capabilities. The good news is locally, we're pretty well set. If we were to have somebody to actually contract this disease locally, our hospitals are pretty well set. One hospital has cleared a whole unit for nothing but negative pressure isolation should they absolutely need to put somebody in it. SRMC has a certain amount of beds, so we do have the capability here, and I don't mean here we don't, but we do have the capability locally to put people in isolation. But the first step is they're going to tell you to self-isolate at home. I just told you they don't want you in their door. They don't. All the sick people are there. They don't want more sick people until they know for sure they have to put you in isolation. So how do you get to the health organization? I'll be very honest. If you call them, if your doctor calls them and says that he highly suspects, they're going to run through why he highly suspects it. I would not doubt they find a way to get you somebody here, or you're going to have to go there. Now, how you get there? Well, we're probably going to ask that you drive yourself, because I can tell you I'm not putting my driver in harm's way. I cannot. The other job Tanya did this week was call the local transport companies to ask them, are you prepared to transport somebody who is under suspicion for COVID-19? Tanya, would you like to give them that update? So, our local transport companies are not prepared. They do not have a plan. What we were told, though, is that the EMS, if we were to call 911, I was assured that EMS would come out and transport. Probably, I don't know why, but that's what we were assured today, that they would come out and transport. But calling like local transport companies, they are not prepared. They are not prepared to transport somebody in those conditions. Good news is once you get to the hospital, they're good to go. It's just getting there. So I know a lot of questions that I've taken over the past few days are, what are we going to do if the hospitals get full? So we've been doing a lot of research. Actually, it didn't take a lot of research. They sent it to us in an email. There is a law called EMTALA, E-M-T-A-L-A. You can Google it if you want. I do not know what it stands for, but I can tell you what it says. What it says is hospitals cannot refuse the care of the ill, even if it means renting tents and putting them in a parking lot. They are to care for the ill. That question came up a few times over the past couple days from both staff and residents. But they did send that out as an update I think it was yesterday, and we did talk through it as a company, and that's just the case. So if things got really bad, the hospital has a responsibility to take patients.
You said that if we we cannot come back to, I want to give us some place to go. Emergency.
So if you have a fever of 100.4, and I guess I probably should have clarified that. If somebody comes to this campus and they have a fever of 100.4, yes, we are not allowing them on the campus. If you live in a villa and you come back and you have a fever of 100.4, we're probably going to put you back in your car and we're going to escort you to your villa and tell you to self-isolate. I probably was not very clear on that. Now that I think about how I said it, I think I might have mixed that message. And self-isolate. Self-isolation right now is what they are recommending if you have any sign or symptom of a respiratory infection. Minimize exposure. That's what it's all about.
I'm in the midst of them changing my medicine day by day, week by week. Most of my medicines come from the state teachers.
Mm-hmm.
But my son has permission, he's my caregiver person, to get my medicines from the drugstore and bring it to me, which he does. Because they aren't giving me the long prescriptions because the doctor keeps changing
them too quickly.
And so will he still be allowed to
So
get my medicine? And I am lucky, I have a patio and he could drop it over the patio. He doesn't even have to come in. I can move the table over so he can put it on a thing.
There are situations that we will look at, and in that situation, we may even just have a staff member run it up to you from the check-in point.
Okay. So
Okay.
he should,
He'll have no choice but to go to the checkpoint. We've barricaded the road.
oh yeah.
She did bring up a good point. I know a lot of people use the pharmacy. That is somebody else that we have contacted. Well, I asked the staff to reach out to some of the pharmacies that we know deliver. We are allowing the pharmacies to do their deliver. They just have to be screened. Nobody enters the campus without being screened. They just have to be screened. So the pharmacies like CVS delivers, Madison Avenue delivers. We did ask that they call and reach out to them, let them know what we're doing. And I'm going to be very honest. We're one of the last facilities in Clark County to actually be doing this. Some of the other facilities, once things started to get imposed, they already went to this. We tried to just stay with what the governor was putting in executive order because we didn't want it to come to this any quicker than it did. Only took 3 days, but we were trying to be as safe as possible without being being as less restrictive as possible. No English teachers in here, please. We were trying to do the best that we could. Unfortunately, it only took 3 days to get here. We now have 5 confirmed cases. One of them's actually in my hometown, so I am a little concerned about that. 5 confirmed cases in the state of Ohio, 25 people under investigation, 30 people have tested negative, including 1 person in Montgomery County.
Well, Ohio Living and like my daughter comes every Monday to do my pills and finances. Will she be accepted in?
So Ohio Living, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to ask that you let Ohio Living set up your pills. That is a service that they offer. Again, we are trying to limit exposure as much as possible. If you're already getting the services of Ohio Living, we would probably like to try to see if we can't get them to set up your pills.
What about my bills? Like
Well-
you getting paid?
Well, just for that, I may let her in.
Yeah, I know.
We'll have to we're going to have to work through some of these things. There's a million scenarios that are going to pop up.
Oh, yeah.
A million scenarios that are going to pop up. And the only thing I can tell you is we are going to have to use our best discretion to try to limit exposure.
Many of us have housekeepers that come in once or twice a month. Will they be permitted to come in? They're all campus. Like home stay.
The question was if we're going to allow housekeepers to come in and take care of the villas.
putting,
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. I understand that that could end up being a health hazard depending on how you keep your house, although I don't think yours would be too bad. Let me just get clarity on housekeeping services. I just,
Well, couldn't there be a registry for the employed like that?
well, there is, because everybody who comes to the campus has to check in and sign
Okay.
in. But again, we're trying to limit exposure
Sure, I understand.
as much as we possibly can. You know, it's not fun, and it's not easy, but it is for everybody's best interest.
So, in general, if your temperature is below 100.4, I could have my daughter-in-law come here and pick me up to take me to go and do errands that I have to do. Is that possible?
It is, but again, we're trying to limit the exposure on the campus as much as possible. So if your daughter comes and picks you up, we may try to work out something where she picks you up from the front gate.
At the front gate?
We try to find a way to get people brought down. You know, transportation's gonna, help us with on-campus runs. We have security. I mean, we know we're gonna have some obstacles ahead of us that we're gonna have to, try to work through. We are trying to contract with an outside security firm. We want an outside security firm to be the people who run that guard shack. Why? I gotta preserve staff to take care of the residents. So it is not cheap by any means, but it is needed. We are looking to put a security guard down there, and we're going with the security guard because the truth is the longer this goes on, the more frustrated people are going to get. First thing I asked you for is patience. I have 2 kids. I know how quick that lasts. It's going to get tougher and tougher as time goes on, and we're going to have to stay diligent to get through it. It's weathering the storm. How many of you lived through the Great Depression? You understand weathering the storm. This ain't even as bad as that. We've just got to weather through it, and we've just got to work together.
I am my friend's office. I'm on you. I run out of groceries. I mean groceries. Is it possible for me to call him, tell him what I want, and he comes to leave the date for me, and
Yep.
I come to you?
So what she asked is, she runs out of groceries, she calls her son to have her son go pick up groceries. Can you drop them at the gate and go get them? Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we want to help you guys with is apps. We want to help you work things like ClickList, Skype. Everyone know what Skype is? Kind of like FaceTime, only it's an app. Those are the kinds of things that we know as a community we're going to have to be a resource to go out and help you guys with, because we know people are going to get lonely. We know people are going to want to reach out. People want to see their grandkids, want to see their kids. We completely understand it. So as a community, we're going to have to work together to help people get set up on things like Skype. Sometimes we may have to help people get set up on an email address. ClickList through Kroger, and somebody just told me, I did not know this because the Kroger I know only does ClickList, but someone told me the Kroger on Bechtel delivers. I did not know that. I know Meyer delivers through Shipt. Now where I'm from, Walmart does pickup or they do delivery. Does the Walmart out here? Okay. So those are the types of resources that tall guy over there in the black shirt is going to help us assemble. I don't know if I would have Dave do your grocery shopping. Why? It's going to be beer, Cheetos, beer. No Cheetos. He's on a diet. But we're going to come up with those resources and have to help you guys set those things up. Again, we're going to need some patience because we're all kind of learning this as we go, right? We're trying to learn how to ride this bicycle together. We're going to fall down every once in a while, but we're going to have to get back up and go right back at it. Yep.
I'm kind of concerned as
Yes. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there are options, right? I don't wanna say this, but there are options.
I was wondering this, if they were to come in their car and stop in the parking lot, could we go out and talk to them through the window?
Maybe at the front gate.
Front gate?
Mm-hmm. You can meet your family off campus. You can leave. It's going to be tough. I wholly expect some residents to maybe go spend a week with their loved ones, if you can. Well, our transportation can help get you down to the front gate to have them come pick you up. You know, we can, you know, we're going to try to be as amenable as we possibly can and try to do what we can to help everybody out.
Transportation that's scheduled to go to medical appointments is still going on?
Yeah, so the question was, transportation to medical appointments, are they still going to run? The answer is yes. Again, I'm going to rely on you guys to help us because, well, Dave, have we told everybody yet? We're losing a driver. We're losing a driver. One of our drivers is retiring again. How dare him? But we are losing a driver. That's our problem, not yours. We will still find a way to help you guys get where you need to go. What I'm asking you is to eliminate all non-essential doctor's appointments. What do I mean by non-essential? Well, in one resident's case who Tanya and I just spoke to a little bit ago, he's got a catheter, he's got bladder issues, he probably should go to his urologist. But I wouldn't go for my annual checkup if I'm feeling pretty healthy right now. Limit your exposure. You know who goes to the doctor? Sick people. Limit your exposure. B, it would help the strain on our resources because we're gonna be tested from a resource utilization standpoint as an administration. We know that. What I can tell you is that as a company, we've committed our resources to making sure that we protect our residents, but also to make sure that we are trying to care for our residents the best way possible. We completely understand this decision is going to be tough. It is going to be hard. It's going to test us all. But again, we've got to work together. We've got to just have understanding, and we've got to rely on one another. In 2018, we talked about becoming a community, right? Who remembers that? Becoming a community, relying on one another. Our social lives, if you're somebody who leaves this campus a lot and goes out, you can still leave. I asked you to use your good judgment. You may not go do the things you used to do. Rely on one another. Take up bridge. We got a bridge club, don't we? Right? We got a Walter Frank Center that I hear doesn't get used as much as we want. Let's utilize those things and come up with more things as a community so that we don't get completely isolated socially. There are almost 400 residents on this campus. Nobody should be alone. And to the Masons in this room, we need to look out for one another, right? Wives, widows. We need to look out for one another. So rely on each other, communicate to each other. Get to know your neighbors a little better, as long as they're not coughing, running a fever, and short of breath. Hey, yes?
As you know, I've sold people order a lot of stuff. And when it comes, I hate to tell you, it's from China.
I agree.
Are we okay with opening that stuff?
Okay, so this is a tough one because there's no... All right, here's what I know about COVID-19. It lasts on hard surfaces for 9 days. That's what we've been told by all the medical professionals. I order more things on Amazon than I buy at the grocery store when I go grocery shopping. That's just how my family is. It's a lot easier to hop on Amazon and get something than it is to hop in the car and go out and, get dressed again. I completely understand it. All I would say is use your best discretion. I can't tell you that I wouldn't touch the package for 9 days.
They say that heat's the best thing.
Heat is the best thing. I mean, that's what I heard as well. I was told there's a reason why certain countries aren't having a lot of outbreaks because it's so hot. I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot of science behind that, but they said heat's the best thing, but I guess depending on what you ordered, you can't throw everything in the dryer. Well, you could microwave things, yes. So I don't really know. I would just use your best judgment. No matter what I tell you up here is going to make me a hypocrite, because I'm the first person to go home, get the mailbox. I rip it open before I even hit the front door. That's why I carry a backpack, so I have my hands to check my mail. So I'm not doing anything different at my house. I'm not saying that's smart, because I wouldn't do half the things I do if I were you. So I don't really know what to tell you with that, Faye.
Really stupid question. It's like 6 months. I mean, I know you don't know.
So the question is, can I give you an idea? I can give you the idea that the governor just gave us. 3 weeks. And then we're going to reevaluate. So what I'm giving you is a deadline of reevaluation. I'm going to tell you right now, they're reevaluating right now. Every day this week, it has changed. Why is it changing? Because so far every day this week, that number has grown. As that number grows, so does the intensity of what that governor changes. So does the intensity of what the federal government's going to change. We are going to see, who likes basketball? They just shut down the NBA. That's a multi-billion-dollar industry. One person has been diagnosed in that whole league. They have shut the league down. That's what I'm saying. I know it seems like we're taking drastic measures, but the truth is these are drastic times. This is very, very important. 3 days ago, I was told that it was less lethal than the flu, just because it hadn't killed as many people yet. It now has surpassed the flu tenfold. There's an estimate that 1 in every 250 infected 40 to 50-year-olds will die from COVID-19. I can't even say it anymore. COVID-19. If you look at the ratio of how many people are infected in the state of Ohio, in the United States, to how many people died, it has a kill rate of 3%. 3% of Americans who've been infected, positively identified as being infected, have passed away. There have been 1,300 and some odd cases the last time I checked. 37 Americans died. It was 3%. That's substantially higher than the flu. The flu's at like a 0.4 or 0.28 or something like that. It's less than 1%.
The election, primary election next week, how are we going to treat that? Can somebody go and get us mail in?
So that's actually a good question. The governor did address that today. The election is going to happen. They made that very clear. What he suggested is early voting. He made a comment today that his wife went to the Board of Elections. There are only 2 people voting today. Vote early. I'm going to pump this to Dave, and I don't want him to answer it now because we're going to have to see if we can make it happen. But maybe we can throw a bus together to go to because you can go vote early at the Board of Elections, correct?
Yes.
Okay. From 8 to 7. Maybe we can look to see if we can put together, if you drive, you can take yourself, please. Again, we have to ration our resources. But maybe we can see about putting something together early. They did say that the polling terminals, polling places, are not considered mass gatherings because the influx of people is temporary and they leave. They did say that there will be higher times, obviously, So try to use your discretion and go when those times are less fluid. Apparently, a comment was made by the governor yesterday that that's usually like between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. But if you go early, you can get your voting in. What I can't promise is that I'm able to get mail-in ballots. I'm gonna be very honest, I vote in person. I don't know how the other ways work, because I've never done it, and I've never really looked at it. So I don't know if I can go get early ballots. We can look into that and see.
Sign in and you have to.
Like you have to sign it out?
Yeah, you have to bring identification.
Oh,
We just ordered it.
We
ordered
cannot go
our ballots.
Get a ballot
Yeah.
for someone else.
We just called them.
okay, so you have to do it individually.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I will not look at that then. Sounds like we got the answer. But we will try to see if we can maybe schedule one trip. And if we get a lot of people to sign up for it, we can try to expand it. Just know that I can't make any promises right now because, again, we're trying to utilize our resources to the best of our ability, make sure that we can care for the residents. But voting is very important. You know, we're all American. Voting is very important. We want to make sure everyone gets that opportunity.
I read in today's newspaper that they said that the schools were not going to be open for voting this year.
No schools, no nursing homes. So we were actually being looked at as a voting site. I was actually kind of excited because then it makes our lives a lot easier. They passed on us because of parking. We don't have enough parking to justify a voting poll, which I thought was funny, but they don't. So they didn't take it, and a good thing for them because yesterday that announcement was made. No schools, no nursing homes. Because schools and nursing homes have space. So a lot of that, those and churches usually become voting places, polling places. So with that, they've eliminated that. They did not take churches out yet. Yet is the statement I want to make. So I see that. So what's happening now is we have a lot of people leaving. We have got to make sure we get everybody's temps. Unfortunately, we have to do it. So we have all temporal scanners. So we're just going to take your temperature. We just have to mark it down. You're more than welcome to leave after that. Anybody who's not here, we'll be knocking because we do have to get a baseline of everybody. So if you live in assisted living and skilled nursing, we've already done it. We have to do that daily now. So in IL, we just need to do it one time, and then you'll have it done every time you come and go from the campus. All right? All right, well, everybody, thank you for coming. I apologize that we are at this situation, but it is out of our control, and all I ask is for cooperation and understanding, and again, patience. All right, thank you very much. So